Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
What's up, everybody? Hi, welcome back to the Paperweights. I am one of your hosts, Mike.
And I am the other host, Brandon.
So it is not really, it's dry January for a lot of people, and I'm not really all the way doing dry January, but I did find a near beer that I'm rather enjoying. It's a Weissenpfeffer. The
Weihenstephaner.
Yeah, that one. It's the world's oldest brewery. So cheers to the people that are doing dry January.
Cheers. I feel bad because like I've got this on my desk. So, you know,
The Bywater bourbon.
if you're not doing dry January, then
And then you can have a toast of Brandon.
then
A nice little finger pour there, a little shot ounce and a half pour.
then I raise a glass to you. And if you are doing dry January, I raise a glass to you the same.
You can have their portion. I'm actually going to I'm actually going to Kentucky this weekend for my daughter's gymnastics meet, and it's in Bardstown, which I'm super excited about because Heaven Hill Distillery is in Bardstown.
Yeah.
I love Heaven Hill. Like, that is one of my favorite distilleries. So won't have enough time to take a tour, but I will make enough time to swing by the gift shop at least and see if I can grab something cool.
Yeah, whenever I was up in Louisville, or Louisville, as they say, with my buddy DJ, I went downtown and ended up going to the Angel's Envy distillery. It wasn't planned or anything, so I just like drove down there, walked in, and I was like, "Do y'all have any tours available?" And they're like, "We're sold out for the next 3 days." It's like, okay. I guess I'll just look in your gift shop, and there was so much stuff in the gift shop.
Yeah,
and not as much bourbon in the gift shop as you would think, but more of other stuff. And it was funny. I heard a couple that was looking at all the items in there, and one said to the other, "It's like, I don't think most people know what all of these things do." But it looks really cool, and to put out whenever you have a party and you just have all these things, it makes it look like you know what you're talking about and that you're really fucking cool.
right.
But all it is you're spending this money just not knowing what it is and just putting it out because everybody puts it out.
Well, it's like I used to say whenever I was doing triathlons, like, you don't have to be fast as long as you look fast.
Yeah, I mean that's half of it, If you can intimidate the other person, then
Nobody was intimidated by me whenever I would roll up to the start of the ant line. They'd be like, "Who's this fat guy doing triathlon?" Like, we know what place he's not coming in.
But yeah, that's pretty fun up there. Would have been nice to have a tour. I'm all about going. Not that all these distilleries are local businesses, but whenever I travel around, my wife and I, one of our favorite things to do is to actually just stop into the local craft breweries, because I know how the ones in my community are, and I like having them there.
Right.
When I go visit other places, go visit them, and be like, I want more of these in different places that I go to. So, hey, support the things that you like, but that also really impact the smaller people
Mhm.
uh more more instantly.
Right.
So, if you go buy something at Walmart, okay, the more people that do buy from Walmart, then the workers can get their paycheck. But if you go to somewhere smaller, a local one, if you buy it there, then it's keeping them the money flowing, and they're the business owner is
Mhm.
trying to keep his um, business going. So he has the money to buy more stuff and keep the lights on and everything. So that it affects the local person more quickly.
Yeah, there's a local grocery store here. It's called Dorothy Lane Market, and it's kind of it's like an upscale Publix, I would say. So I don't go there very often because some of that stuff is kind of like their prices are pretty up there, but like they're really close to the house. So if I just need a couple things quick, I'll go there. But I mean, everybody like they don't have self checkout. Like like there's people working there, and it's a cool little store to shop at because you can definitely tell that your dollar spent there is a dollar going back to the community because it's there, and there's not people checking your receipts on the way out because like somebody scanned your item, somebody else bagged your groceries. Like there's a lot of hands-on stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's funny whenever we go to Walmart and get the groceries and we walking out,
Hmm.
got the people trying to check your receipt there, and my wife's like, they can't stop me. Like it's not they can't do that. But whenever we're going out, if we get one of the four registers that have a worker there,
Hmm.
we go through that line and we're leaving. My wife doesn't stop, and then like it's usually old people at the door.
Yeah.
She doesn't stop, and she keeps going, but I'm kind of lagging behind, and I've got the receipt anyway.
Right.
So
I'll usually like hold the receipt up as I'm walking closer, and they just wave me on anyway.
yeah, but my wife likes to like one thing she'll say is, "I got checked out by a person, so I'm good. They know what's in my bags. I'm
You
good."
go ask them.
Yeah. So, um, but yeah, with the local businesses and specifically the craft breweries, we love. I love doing a tour
Hmm.
if they do a tour, um, because like I'm interested in knowing their story.
Yeah.
Most of them are the same um, kind of tours where they give
Started
the
drinking beer in college, wanted to make their own.
yeah. Well, the I was going towards. I mean, that's the case too, but I was going more towards the actual details of how they brew the beer. Those are going to
Oh,
be more the same.
yeah.
The differences on the tours is who the people were, the origin of the name,
Hmm.
what they're doing for their community.
Right.
Um, and for them to do a tour like that,
Hmm.
they just got to repurpose one employee's like uh, task
Right.
into giving a tour for that many hours. They'd be there working anyway.
Hmm.
So, give them the tour. It's not they don't have a necessary cost involved with giving the tour.
Right.
So when you pay for the tour, which most of them, they charge a little bit, but when you pay for the tour, it's like, hey, people working here, here's some money.
Mhm.
And so, if you run a business, the more money people give you, the longer you can run your business.
Mhm.
It's a damn concept.
It is a concept. Yeah, I like going to the distilleries because I love the history behind bourbon and the kind of like how, especially some of the ones that were able to like operate during Prohibition and maintain their operating status. Like it's cool to see the history of the people like whose names are on the building and kind of hear their story about how they got into whiskey and how many different like I think if people understood like a lot of people know the name Colonel E.H. Taylor from being on a bottle of whiskey, but if they knew his actual origin story and how many of the different brands of whiskey he influenced and worked with, they'd be flabbergasted. There's almost no Kentucky bourbon that's made that he didn't have a hand in some way, shape, or form. It's crazy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
It is. If you ever drink any whiskey that has bottled in bond written on the front,
Mm-hmm.
it might as well be the Colonel E.H. Taylor Act, because he was the one that got the Bottled in Bond Act passed.
Okay, cool.
So it's really cool dude.
What are the what's the qualification or requirement for bottle and bond?
It has to be made from it has to be aged in a government bonded warehouse, meaning basically it's insured. It has to be from a single growing season, and I think it has to be 100 proof, and I want to say it's a minimum of 6 years aged. I think that's the other. I should know this because I talk about it with other people quite often.
And is that whiskey only, or is that bourbon whiskey?
So it is whiskey in general, because Jack Daniel's just released a bottle in bond.
Okay.
And if you ever want to see a bunch of whiskey dorks get butthurt about something, tell them that, depending on which way they lean, either tell them that Jack Daniel's is a bourbon or that it is not, and that it's a Tennessee whiskey. They'll get all kinds of butthurt about it. It's hilarious. And the funny thing is, like, it's technically not bourbon, even though it follows all of the rules of bourbon, because Jack Daniels himself went to Congress to say that his whiskey was different enough that it was Tennessee whiskey and not bourbon. And he proved it in Congress. So yeah, it's a Tennessee whiskey.
There you go.
Must be aged for a minimum of 4 years, must be bottled at 100 proof, and must be made by a single distiller. Those are the qualifications for bottled in bond.
Nice.
And the reason for that, I know we're kind of going off on a tangent here, but the reason for that is in the kind of right up to or leading into Prohibition, like the late 1800s, there was a big problem of counterfeit whiskey. People were adding they were adding like tobacco, they were adding, like, you name it, animal byproducts, all kinds of crazy stuff to get the color or the smell of what people would like as whiskey. And it started being called basically death water, because people were making it like hooch. They were just making it in their bathtub and selling it as whiskey, and people were drinking it and dying. And so Colonel Taylor was like, we need a way to be able to market our product to where people know that they're getting actual, good, honest whiskey. And so they passed the bottle. He got them to pass the Bottle and Bond Act. So if there's a Bottle and Bond label, you knew that you were getting the real deal Holyfield.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Again, I like this. Like I said, I like the history behind some of this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you think okay, sorry. My mind blanked for a second there. you would think those, outlaw country people would be more against just having something certified bottled in bond as opposed to being.
Well, they really weren't more like the outlaw country. You understand, like these were businessmen trying to run major distilleries. They weren't like moonshiners. They weren't trying to make a buck off of the, distilling, clear liquor. They were trying to mass produce a product. And so by passing the Bottle and Bond Act, they were able to protect their product.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different mentality between those two.
I guess I was more thinking, like the modern idea of, some kind of rebel outlaw or country, it's like, hey, I don't need a government certification for this to be authenticated.
Right.
So
yeah, and and I guess like on one hand, yeah, you can, like, that's right. But if nobody's buying your stuff because they're scared they're going to die when they drink it,
Yeah, that
Having something on the label saying, no, this is actually whiskey and I can prove it is nobody's running around with, they've got like those little drug testing kits that people that take drugs are running around with now to check for fentanyl. So nobody's got that for booze or running around going, let me make sure this is real.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I mentioned board games. Talking about board games. Over New Year's night, I went to my friend's house and we were playing a bunch of different board games, and it's our crew that we play D&D and board games and everything. So a lot of times we'll just get together and play board games for
Nice.
hours. But one of the ones I was playing was this Disney Villainous.
How's that one?
It's
We've looked at it a couple times.
It's fun, and so like I got there and they were already setting up and playing, just starting to play. And my friend Chris is like, "Hey, Brandon, I'm gonna have to get up in a second to take care of something, so you'll take my spot when I get up and go." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "All right, this is our objective." And then I looked and saw people play rounds, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I got this. I got this." So it's super easy to learn.
That's good.
And one cool thing about it is, even though like the actions and your options on your player's turn are going to be the same across everybody, each villain has their own objective, unique in-game objective.
Okay.
Yeah, so they
Is
call
it
it
the same every
asymmetrical.
time, or is it like, do you draw the objective at the beginning of the game?
That objective for that specific villain is going to be the same for every game.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm digging that Tony Sachery's cup you got there, dude.
Yeah, that's Rotolo's.
Oh,
Rotolo's
nice.
Pizzeria.
Yes.
They've got crazy cups now.
It's bigger than they used to be. They used to be just like small, like Mardi Gras size cups.
This is like
they used to be smaller. I'm like, I don't have any more, so I can't like run and get one for size comparison. But
I think it's a 16-ounce cup.
Oh, maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, it's a 16-ounce cup because the 12-ounce ones are a little smaller than 16 ounces, obviously.
It's the way numbers work.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoy playing that game. There's many games that we have like some real quick games that we play. And oh man, I can't remember the name of this one game, but it's really fun. It's a square, and each square has two notches, or so on the outside of the board. It's one giant square, and it's going to be divided up into other smaller squares. But each edge has two pathway starts. So two little notches where everybody picks a colored stone, and you put it on that spot, and you go around and you look at the cards that you have, and you have to play one of them. You can't purposely kill yourself, but the goal is to be the last stone to follow its path off of the board on another spot.
No. Okay.
So you're trying to kill all the other stones.
Right.
And so once you place one, there's two paths on every side, and they match up to two paths on another one. So once you place it on your turn, you have to make sure you place it where I think where you move.
Okay.
You have to play it in front of you. And so you're going to move forward. But if you play that and it connects to any other line of another player, then they have to follow it until there's a dead end.
Gotcha.
But if the dead end is the outer edge of the board, then you're dead. So you're out.
That's unfortunate. My daughter's got 2 new games for Christmas that we've played them a couple of times. One of them's really fun. It's called Worst Case Scenario. So it's a card game, and you draw 5 cards, and you read through the cards, and they're all like situations, like attacked by a bear, locked in a room with a strange person, uh, walking alone on a street at night with people following you, like stuff like that, like just scenario based things. And they have to, you have 5 little tokens, numbered 1 through 5. They lay down the numbers 1 through 5 based on how they think you are going to rate the cards. So with 1 being the worst and 5 being not the worst. So it's really kind of fun because it can be like because I'm playing it with my kids, like they're seeing something and like, oh, that's really not that bad. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not bad. That's a horrible scenario. Like, because like it'll like one of them was like walking down walking down a street at night and somebody's following you, and my kid's like, that's really not that big a deal. I'm like, you're out of your mind. You're having to you score, like you lay down like a 4 if you think that they're really not that worried about it, and then on the back end of it they're like turning over a 2 or something because they thought it was a horrible idea. I was like, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with that one. And the other one was called Guess in 10. You had 10 questions. And I guess this one they have different games that you can play, like different games you can buy that are all called Guess in 10. And this was states. So you got 10 you could ask 10 questions to figure out which state was on the card. And like they had certain things you could guess and whatnot. So that one was a lot of fun too, because we got to ask questions like, have we lived there? So it was a lot of fun.
The other game,
worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of a game we played recently, Wavelength. And so you're gonna hide this wheel, and you're gonna turn it, and you're gonna turn it, and then you're gonna show it, and there's gonna be a range on it. And so it's like on one side is most, and the other side is what? I can't remember. Huh?
You said most. I said, and you're like, the other side is, I'm like, I don't know, least.
Two extremes. So it's going to be the opposite extreme. So you're going to pick a card, and so you're going to see where it's at. And so you want your team to guess where on this spectrum of most to least is.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to figure it out.
Gotcha.
Based on, so person that looks at it says, okay, I need to pick something that's going to be around that, and the card that they pick has two directions. So struggling here.
That's not one I'm familiar with. We tried to play throw avocado a couple times, and I don't know. It was fun, but we haven't played it since. Apparently, you can also pair throw avocado with throw burrito, and combine the 2 games, because avocado goes amazing on burritos.
So they'll pick a card, and it'll be like good or bad.
Gotcha.
And so then you'll ask a question like snakes. So
on a plane?
Yeah, snakes on a plane are just snakes. Like, are snakes bad? Would I think that snakes are bad? And so it's the little kind of window. It's just gonna be random from you turning it. So if I think they're really good, I will, or if it's here and I think they're really good, I'd say snakes, and then they have to try to figure out if I would think snakes are good or bad.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like guessing the other person. Would they think this is more dangerous than the other thing?
Yeah. So sounds pretty similar.
Yeah.
This one was kind of fun because like so you got scored based off of how many times you matched the person whose turn it was. And then you had to spin a wheel to see what your points added up to. So like sometimes it was like if you matched, like let's say if you matched the person's number 3, you got 5 extra points. Or if you got 2 different matches, you would get to add up the actual number value instead of just getting 1 point per. So
I got you.
it was pretty fun. We enjoyed it.
That makes sense. Ooh, what else you got? What you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. We're getting ready to, like I said, we're getting ready to head out to this weekend to go to Kentucky for gymnastics meet, and pretty much the next like 2 months are just back to back travel for different things for either gymnastics or volleyball. So we're gonna be doing a lot of traveling for kids sports.
Gotcha. Speaking of traveling, I so finalized what we were going to do for our father-daughter trip this year.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be we're going to go up to Tulsa, Oklahoma, visit my nephew,
Mm-hmm.
and then after a couple nights there, we're going to go down into Texas, Grapevine, Texas, and we're going to do
Okay.
the Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah, nice.
So
I kind of, whenever you said Grapevine, I thought that's what you were going to say, because that's kind of like the big thing in Grapevine.
yeah, they were running like 50% off
Mm-hmm.
stays, multi-night stays. So I was like, okay, cool.
That works. Y'all doing that's going to be y'all's summer trip, or?
Yeah, over Jules' spring break.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to be doing for spring break, winter break, any of that stuff, because we're, like I said, we're kind of booked up with travel for different things. I know we're going to Kentucky. I think we're going to Kentucky 3 times, and Indiana twice,
okay.
or maybe it's 2 and 2. It all runs together. Like it's all on my calendar. I'm just like a couple days before that weekend, I'm like looking, okay, do we have a hotel for that weekend? Okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah, so we're excited. Jules kind of looks forward to those father-daughter trips,
That's great, man.
and I'm happy. I'm happy to do it. One for me
Mhm.
to see some of these things, but also for her to see them at a younger age and to see them with me.
Yeah, because I mean that's time with your kid that you're never going to get back. You know, like that's that valuable one-on-one time that as the older they get, the less they want to do it. So that's awesome that you're able to take advantage of that now.
Yeah. This will be year 4 that we were doing one. So back in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
uh, no, 2021. Yeah. Summer of 2021, I took Jules on our first trip. And I said every year from now on, we'll do it.
That's awesome, dude. I dig it. We haven't done like any trips one-on-one, but we'll do like date nights. Like I'll let my oldest pick out somewhere to go, like for dinner or something. And it's like wherever you want to go, we'll go. And she always picks somewhere that I don't like. Because she's like, let's go to Olive Garden. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go to Olive Garden.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my youngest. My youngest, whenever we get to do those things, she's like, let's go here. And it's always like Chick-fil-A or something. I'm like, okay.
My daughter always wants to go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. She
My
just wants the toy from the kids' meal.
my oldest either wants Subway or like Olive Garden. Those are her 2 favorite places on earth. I don't understand. You would think she's never had like real Italian food. She's like,
Yeah.
Olive Garden's amazing. I'm like, no, it's not.
But speaking of relationships, yeah, my wife and I are about to make 11 years
Nice, dude.
on the 19th. So next Friday.
Of the 19th of this month?
Yep.
Rad, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you.
11 years is big.
It is. I mean, it'll never be as many as yours.
I mean, until she kicks me out, I guess. then you'll have a chance. Then you have some chances to catch up.
I have a chance to catch up. Yeah. So,
No, my wife and I, this summer will be year 20 for us.
wow.
So somehow
But
she has managed to put up with me we've been together for like almost 21 years, but she has put up with me for being married almost 20 years. I don't know how, but somehow she has.
well, that's a big achievement there.
I definitely will agree with you on that one. It is something that we've talked about a few times. That's something that not a lot of couples seem to even want to try for, most days anymore. Seems like most people, like, once things get tough, they're like, I'm just out. Instead of sitting back and talking about things and working stuff out, they just like cut and run.
Yeah, that kind of it's that way with a lot of things, not just relationships. But I think it started other places and then bled into
Mhm.
relationships for sure. So it's like, well, if this doesn't work for me at all, and I have to like change anything, like any minute thing,
Yeah.
then I'm out.
Yeah. The
And
same.
not to say that you should actually change a core piece of yourself, but there's features or things about ourselves that we can't afford to change for the
Mhm.
better of something. And so like if somebody else points that out about us and we accept it, then they're doing us a favor.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes those conversations can be tough and uncomfortable, but that's how you grow. You don't grow by just sitting back and being comfortable all the time. You got to get a little uncomfortable now and then.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know what else to talk about, Mike.
I don't either. It's just kind of one of those days. Like, I know we're getting ready to start reading Harry Potter. I wanted to show you my copy of Harry Potter, because I know how much this will make you cringe a little. So this is full disclosure. We did not buy this book. We this book was borrowed, and then something happened to it, so we bought a replacement for it to give back to the person we borrowed it from. But at some point over the years, this book, from being moved multiple times, it literally is falling apart, and the first 22 pages aren't even attached anymore.
You're gonna read that specific copy?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
I don't know.
this, this is actually a first edition. If you really want to if you really want to know, it's actually a first edition.
It's definitely got use. I mean, I've got this brand new one. I started it already, but
Cheater.
yeah.
Yeah, I've my wife has read that one. I've read it 2 or 3 times. My oldest daughter has probably read it 4 times. So it is definitely seen some love. I mean, it's moved. It's lived in every state that we've lived in. So it's been around a little bit.
You excited to get into it again and talk about it?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read them. So I think I've seen the movies probably 4 times since I've read it last. Because what I would do is, like, how you see a movie so many times that you just kind of have it on as background noise while you're doing something else, because you don't
Yeah.
really have to watch it.
Yeah.
So the entire time I was in grad school, if I was at home working on a paper, and if it was like my day off work or the kids were in school or something, I would put on one of the Harry Potter movies and let it play while I was writing a paper or doing research. And so I'd be sitting in my chair doing research or writing a paper and have the movies playing. So I've seen bits and pieces of them multiple times over the last 5 years, and I probably haven't read the book in 5 years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it and kind of getting a refresher.
Yeah, same. Well, Mike,
Is it your turn to be tired and go to bed like it was my turn last week?
I think so. My squats yesterday really got to me. So
Oh, so what is this competition you said you signed? Are you competing on the platform this year?
no,
Oh, you mentioned a big competition and talking about lifting some heavy weights. So I was like, is Brandon getting on the platform?
no, I'm be back on the mats.
Back on the mats.
Yeah, so
Gotcha. Got to get strong. Got to get strong for the mats.
yep.
Right on, dude. Well, all right. Well, you go get some rest, sir. And
right.
like I said, last week it was my turn to be exhausted. This week it's your turn.
Yeah.
So we will catch up next week where we will go over the first book.
The entire first book.
The entire first book of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yep.
Do you remember what it was called on the first release in England?
The Philosopher's Stone.
Philosopher's Stone. A little Gee Whiz trivia for you there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we'll catch up next week where we will go over the first book, the entire first book of the Harry Potter series. Brandon, you take care, sir. Get some rest.
I will. I look forward to next week.
Yep. Later, y'all.
Later.